Stevens, an attorney for Green Thumb Industries. My office is here in Centreville, and I have with me Laura Brown, who is a principal, as well as one of the founders of Green Thumb back in 2016. Green Thumb Industries is sensitive and concerned with the issues that have been raised. They've spent a lot of time in the past few days and past few weeks, really, since this was introduced, evaluating what they can do for an odor reduction systems, both in several places. And Laura's going to go into a bit more detail on it. And I'm just going to talk 30,000 feet and what we'd like the council to do. Evaluating where the odor is emanating from, systems that can be used, both for the existing and for any potential expansion that they might do. But what we'd like the town council to do is step back from the ordinance and not adopt this ordinance, which would prohibit Green Thumb Industries from growing on the property that they've purchased. In regards to that, I think that it's important to realize, what Green Thumb Industries has. This is just a sheet from their site plan that was approved by the Planning Commission about a year and a half ago. And you can see this is Lot K that they purchased, and you can see where they have existing grow, about 1.6 acres of existing grow. And you can also see the area that they've reserved for future development, and that would be future outdoor grow. This ordinance would prohibit them from doing that. They've planned for that. That's part of what their business model is, and that's part of the reason why they purchased $10 million worth of property, real estate, and improvements in the business park. And so what we'd ask the council to do is to step back, give GTI time to come back to you with a program and an implementation schedule, strategy to implement some of the things Laura's going to talk about in regards to odor reduction. During that time, GTI will file no site plan, request no approval to expand in that area that I showed you for future development. Okay, so there's no bait and switch here. We've been talking to many of the people that have legitimate concerns from Symphony Village, and we've stressed that to them, and we hope that they'll support this idea with you this evening, because we see it as a win-win. Okay, right now, there's this ordinance. All it does is it prevents GTI from expanding, and it prevents additional agriculture in the business park. I'll let the owner of the business park speak to that issue. But if you give us the time, we can go back and look at, and we think we can come up, and Laura will explain, significant odor reduction strategies for what's going on now. And then we're going to want to expand and implement their business plan if we're able to successfully do that. So that's essentially what we're asking for, and now I'll just turn it over to Laura.
Thank you to the town council, and thank you to the public here to listen tonight to hopefully, as Joe mentioned, come up with a win-win solution. We definitely want to let you know that we are here to listen to your concerns, and hopefully we can come up with a plan that satisfies everyone's needs. Just to remind everyone, back in 2016 was when my family, along with another family, received a license to process medical marijuana from the state of Maryland, and we were so thrilled to come to Centreville and the business park. It was a business-friendly area in town, and we got the support of the town to be here. We were given the opportunity to lease from Davis Emery, and we leased just about 6,500 square feet and invested in that property. And in 2017, when we opened for operations, we were just about 5 people, and we weren't sure how it was going to turn out. But fortunately, with an acquisition by Green Thumb and a successful business and the support of the town, we were in a position in 2001 to actually not only buy out the whole warehouse of 72,000 square feet, but also some acreage in the back to do the outdoor cultivation. Now, this was an important part of our strategic business development plan, and so we did come to the town and the planning commission with a site development plan, and we talked through how this would work, and we had permission to do that. So and we're grateful for that. So we've been doing it for last harvest, and we'll have a harvest this year. So this is pretty new to us, and we realize that everything might not be perfect, but we're here today to say that we've heard the issues, and now we are going back to see where we can fix any issues that are there, odor issues that we realize exist. What I have done is worked with our national team to bring in some of the experts. We have engineers nationally, we have industrial hygienists, we have people on staff and experts we're bringing in from around the country, as well as bringing in new people from outside of our business. We have been on calls several times a week since we've realized that this is a major issue, and we are committed to finding a solution that works. And I think, as Joe mentioned, what we want to make sure is that we are not only addressing any future growth, which is what this ordinance is only about, but if we are able to come up with a time frame in order to address this problem, then we would also be committed to finding a solution for anything that exists today. And I think that's what's really important to us, is that I need to be able to go back to our executive team, our board, and be able to say that, look, they are allowing us to have time to come up with a solution, and here's what we've come up with, here are the solutions. I'm happy to answer specifics, and I don't want to bore you to death with the specifics about the scrubbers, the misters, things like that we can do, but I am happy to get into specifics if you would like.
A question right off the top. How long do you think it would take for you to come up with an actionable plan?
We were thinking that we would do, it'd be two-step, okay? I know the council has to defer to a date specific if they were to defer the ordinance, and action on the ordinance. And so we're looking at maybe 5 or 6 months deferral time, okay? But we would come back in about 60 to 90 days and say, here's where we are. And during that 60, 90 days, Laura and I talked before we came in here, they would be implementing things, not just coming up with a plan, okay? They wouldn't implement everything, obviously, and seasonal issues of, come into play. But during that 90, and we'd come back to you in 90 days, we let Symphony Village know when we were coming back. We'd have a dialogue with them, I'm sure. We've actually had a very good dialogue with them in the past 24 hours.
Could you agree tonight to go to Symphony Village, to go to their clubhouse and have a conversation? Is that something you're willing to do?
Yes, for sure. We would want that opportunity.
We do that. We'd like to do it after we come up with an implementation plan. I don't want to say the same things we're saying tonight.
Sure.
And one thing to add to that is, as Joe mentioned, there are things that we can do. We've already committed internally to reduce the amount of material that is going through one of our processes, these heated ovens that we do believe is one of our kind of worst offenders, so to speak, in terms of creating odors. And we've already come up with plans and are implementing those plans as we speak to reduce that amount of material. So I don't want people to think, 60 days out is the first time they're gonna hear of any solutions. We are implementing those solutions, but as several people here I'm sure know from working in the industry, that drawing plans, engineering plans, drawing those things to actually implement those structural plans, those do take time. So we are going to be working along the way, but to come up with a full plan, we would need that time.
So many people work at UTI here in
Yes,
Centreville?
so we are just about 170 people today. Our payroll is over $500,000 per month. So we offer benefits on every job. Benefits kick in the month following your first 30 days. So, and every job does have benefits. I don't know if I just repeated myself. Apologies.
How many of those folks live in Centreville?
I don't have that information on hand, but we can get that to you.
So my question is, it just seems that with how things are moving very fast in this nation to allow for recreational cannabis use, that with that comes late-breaking, sort of cutting-edge technology to mitigate the odors. And so my understanding is GTI, and as a founding member, you would be able to speak to this. You have several sites. So are you guys on the cutting edge of that as far as the technology, and are you able to basically say that, you know, we've tried and tested some of these mitigation approaches at other facilities, the community was able to react favorably? Because I think it's safe to assume, and then I'll finally let you have a chance to respond, that the community of folks that have expressed concern in writing and otherwise about the odor are interested in hearing what the strategies are, but I think probably are going to be more interested in hearing what is the efficacy of those and what can you kind of speak to. And you don't have to do all that tonight, of course, but you know, if you could touch on that, that would be helpful, I think.
I think, and just to point, being on the cutting edge, we were the first facility in our fleet of facilities to implement some of the extraction methods that we're using that we do think are contributing to the odor. So those are some of the reasons why we might not have some of the odor mitigation that we now believe should be in place. So, but to your point, we have certain odor mitigation in other facilities, and we will look at how effective those are, but we'll also look at other agricultural industries where they do require odor mitigation by law, and look at the effectiveness of any sort of strategies and solutions that they implement to figure out what are the most effective, what are best practices. We can also look to other states and outside of our own solutions that we have at our facilities. That's why we're looking at experts and engineers outside of our own kind of fleet of engineers that we have on staff.
One of the individuals heading that up was here last night with the Planning Commission, Jeremy Kashuba, and he's from the food industry. And he was with that control. He oversaw those types of control for mass food production and preparation factories, essentially, which he said is very challenging. So that's the person. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here because of a family commitment this evening. I would like to just make just another point. I know that there's been discussion that, well, this ordinance is about prohibiting outdoor agricultural in the business park. It's not about cannabis or odor or so on. And we know that it is about cannabis and odor. I mean, that's the issue. That's why all these people are here. And that's why GTI is going to go to such lengths to address this. But I think that Davis Emery, who's here, can speak to it better. If this is deferred for 6 months, there's not going to be somebody else dropping a cannabis growth request on the town and saying, approve a site plan and we're going to go cannabis. And if the prices that are justifiably generated in the business park for an acre of land, and this 5 acres cost $1 million, that's in the land record, so nobody's going to grow corn on this property except as a holding, as Mr. Davis does now to hold, as a holding property. So we hope that you take all that in consideration, and we very much would appreciate it if you defer and let us do this and let us come back to you. GTI has a proven track record in the town. Issues have arisen in the past, and they've come to the table and they've addressed them. So, they're going to be here a long time. So thank you.